lovely, and I'd like you to now give an enormous welcome to our MEP from the South West, Dr. Julia Reid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I'd come on just a little bit because last year a gentleman in the audience was quite overwhelmed by my entrance on stage, I don't know if you remember, and was taken ill. So while I was giving my speech last year, paramedics were doing CPR in the aisle there. So hopefully that won't happen today. Now, almost exactly a year ago, as Steve just told you, William and Dartmouth and I were both on stage here, making our pitch to be elected as members of the European Parliament for the South West. Come to think of it, I was his warm act then as well. Did any of you see a programme on Channel 4 a little while back called UKIP, The First 100 Days? Yes, well it was of course not only a spectacular piece of anti-UKIP propaganda, it was also a crystal demonstration of how the bien-pensant lovies who set themselves up as our critics know absolutely nothing much about the real world and the people who live in it. Which may account for why the programme's director found himself up before the beak the following week with aiding and abetting a multi-million-pound tax evasion scam. Oops, I bet that didn't go down too well in the Channel 4 bar. The thing that really gave him away was the ludicrous plot line in which within a couple of months of UKIP taking power and announcing our exit from the EU, the great European firm Airbus Industries supposedly closed its factory in Romford. Their factories are actually in Bristol and in North Wales, leading to widespread misery, riots and so on. As we pointed out at the time, it would be a little odd if Europe's leading aircraft manufacturer decided, in a fit of Euro peak, to start sending their aeroplanes to market without the bit that the UK builds, which is of course the wings. Anyway, surprise, surprise, the chief executive of Airbus this week, when asked about the commitment of Airbus to the UK after a potential British exit from the EU, said, "Regardless of which decision the UK will make, we are strongly committed to our operations in the UK, which are key to the long-term future of our group." At last, a senior businessman who's prepared to tell the truth about business. Ironically, it is probably because he is the CEO of a pan-European business that he was able to say this. Poor old Carlos Ghosn, the CEO of Nissan, gets frog-marched out at regular intervals by the Tories to mutter increasingly unconvincing threats about having to review his operations if we left the EU. But this great Southwest company, Airbus, which employs 17,000 people directly and 100,000 indirectly in the West Country and Wales, exemplifies what William is going to tell you about in a few minutes. Here in Torquay, it would be foolish of me and any disparaging about the tourism industry, as it is a generator of economic benefit here in the Southwest. Tourism is the major industry here and in many other parts of the Southwest. Here in Devon and in Cornwall, it pays the wages of a quarter of a third of the working population. But the flip side is that authorities both in Brussels and Westminster see the Southwest, and especially the counties in the peninsula, as quaint rural backwaters where people go on holiday or retire. Thus, they feel justified in ignoring us when it comes to economic infrastructure and growth. Our traditional native industries of farming and fishing are no longer valued. Our fishermen are being driven out of business as we speak by a combination of the EU and our own government under Fisheries Minister George Eustace. This has never been a highly industrialised region, And most of those heavy industries we have had, shipbuilding and maritime industries, mining and quarrying, are now a shadow of their former selves. The EU long ago classified the economic future of the southwest of England in their integrated map of Europe as depending on tourism and heritage, renewable energy and the knowledge economy. And though it pains me to say it, therein lies the real clue to the southwest's economic failure. No, not being preserved as a heritage and tourism theme park, praying for good weather, international unrest and poor exchange rates to give us a good year, not the insanity of covering your tourism-dependent hills with massive wind turbines or your beautiful valleys with acres of black solar panels, but the bright new world in which people build businesses in places where they really want to live, rather than the other way around. Here in the southwest, we have a willing and educated workforce, matched with a lifestyle that can attract entrepreneurs and innovators who can exploit the new communication technologies to bring world-beating businesses while living lives they want and bringing their families up in the surroundings they would choose. The clues are all around us. All over the southwest you can find businesses doing amazing things in world markets. They are businesses in the creative and technology fields, in specialist manufacturing and advanced engineering. Advanced engineering is the second largest employment sector in the southwest, employing 47,000 people and turning over £3 billion, almost half of it exported. Large firms tend to be in the north of the region, with aerospace in Bristol, vehicle manufacture in Swindon, and biomedical instrumentation concentrated in Gloucestershire. In the peninsula, they are almost all smaller firms which survive and thrive in the southwest, often because they are so skilled and innovative that their location doesn't matter, and their peripherality, as being this far from London is known by economists, is not a handicap to them. The problem is that we don't have enough of them, and that's what we have to change. There's an election in the offing, so cabinet ministers have been crawling all over us like a rash, promising new roads, railways, and throwing money at the long overdue super-fast broadband rollout. Let's not forget that only a year ago we were holding our spring conference here behind a wall of water covering much of Somerset and a single rail link to the rest of the country that had been washed out to sea. So what will UKIP do to boost businesses in the southwest? Well, for a start, we'll lift the heavy blanket of regulation that stifles small businesses just at the time when they're trying to get established. Secondly, we will enforce rules on late payment for larger businesses to their small suppliers, a tax on enterprise which locks up £20 billion of much needed cash flow for smaller firms. Thirdly, our manifesto will show significant and costed reduction in tax burden on businesses concentrated on smaller firms. Fourthly, we will enable young people to opt for apprenticeships in place of 4 non-core subjects at GCSE and abolish university tuition fees for those studying science, technology, engineering, maths and medicine. We must enable our youngsters to achieve their potential and compete in the skilled job market rather than just drift through university and end up starting their lives saddled with big debts. Fifthly, we will allow and encourage employers to prioritise British passport holders for their workplaces, especially young workers who are finding it hardest to get onto the job ladder. The combination of an almost unlimited supply of cheap labour from the EU, with the EURES scheme in which hundreds of thousands of low-skilled British jobs are advertised across Europe, and the EU gives grants to help people come here and attend interviews and relocate has been disastrous for our young people. UKIP believes in Britain, and we believe in the South West as a vibrant, imaginative, welcoming place with willing and well-educated workforce. This is the ideal place to build innovative, creative and world-beating businesses and live well while you're doing it. Thank you, ladies.